Here's a video of our visit to the Findhorn Ecovillage. They claim to be a spiritual community helping to unfold a new human consciousness. So we went to take a look at how they live up to this vision.
Well, there's the shop over there, is a cooperative. There's a cafe at the top of the road. There's a Steiner school, Waldorf school, based on the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner. There is a print works, there's a pottery, there's all sorts of things. There's a vegetable box scheme. That white caravan over there, you just see somebody coming out. She has her supply of organic vegetables for the week. There are many of these schemes around the world. You pay money at the beginning of the year and every week you get a box of vegetables. This time of year it's carrots and potatoes, and in the summertime it's strawberries and raspberries. You know you're getting good organic food, and the growers know that they're going to have the money to keep the system going. They haven't got to worry about whether it's going to work this time. So lots of different things going on here. And if you want to smoke, that's up to you. We don't say people can't smoke if they live in this community. In the same way as if you like a glass of wine, that's fine, as long as that's within balance. Drugs, it's zero tolerance on drugs. We don't allow drugs here. We have the same challenges as the rest of the world. You know, teenagers get hold of marijuana. We try to keep an eye on that, and anything, you know, in the way of the white powders that come in here, we'll jump on them as soon as possible and get rid of them. We don't want that at all. We have a solar panel company that started 30 years ago, which has now become independent. Those panels are designed not necessarily to use sunshine or bright sunshine, but they need daylight. And in this part of Scotland we have a lot of long hours of daylight, so that's how they're designed. They're just producing hot water. So we have to produce not only living spaces for our guests coming through here, but also meeting spaces, because they meet for the various workshops that we do. And we found it's expensive building buildings to have meeting spaces, so we're experimenting with this at the moment, which is like a yurt. It's actually a ger, which is a Mongolian version of a yurt, which is a Norwegian version of a tent that travelling people would put up to sleep in overnight. This is obviously a much more bigger and more sophisticated version. It has a wooden floor, it has the electricity built in, it has a wood-burning stove. And the material it's made of is a much more sophisticated thing than yak skin. You can see how it's made with a wooden lattice structure. Officially, legally, this is a tent, and this is a campsite, so the law says you must take down tents on the 1st of October and keep them down until the following Easter. We're negotiating with the government on that, but it's a silly idea. It's obviously not a tent. Okay, come and have a look inside. It costs about £25,000 this one, which is a lot cheaper than building a room of that size. And it's very well insulated, it's very warm in the winter, cool in the summer. The only problem we have is noise insulation. So you see the pile of straw bales over there? That's what they're there for, is to try and keep the noise down. You may have, I don't know if you've noticed today, we have a very noisy neighbour, the airbase next door. They have some fairly noisy planes called Nimrods, and they're just bringing in things called tornadoes, which are incredibly noisy, which you have to take into consideration. It's a very good opportunity to take a pause in the conversation when they make a lot of noise, rather than getting irritated with them. Just, this is God telling me to relax. Over here on the green thing here, which is still in use. It's used as an office now. When Peter and Eileen and their 3 sons came to live here, they also were unemployed and they needed food, and so Peter planted a garden and started growing vegetables. Well, while Eileen was listening to her voice, Dorothy McLean, the bird founder, found that she was able to communicate with the nature spirits, or the devas, the intelligence behind the plants, and could find out information as to how best to plant things to get good results and to work with the planet. And that's been a part of our work over the years, is cooperation with nature. Some of you may be aware that in the late 60s they were producing enormous vegetables and flowers, 42-pound cabbages, that the press got hold of, and of course the press tend to come along and do lots of investigations because they're excited by that sort of thing and generally want a good story, and they're going to get mown down by a wheelbarrow.
Anyway.
Strange to be able to communicate with the beings behind the growing of plants, but then to hear a voice in your meditations as well would sound rather strange to most people. It does to me. But this place has grown on those particular teachings and inspirations, and it's influenced millions of people around the world, and still does. So obviously there's something there that the average mental person like me doesn't quite get, except it feels right. So the original gardens were planted here by Peter on the guidance of Dorothy McLean, and that's another part of our work that we've been doing. And the gardens are pretty beautiful. You've missed the best bit. You're all a couple of months late. Yes, we can do that. You know, if you think about, do we need to cooperate with nature? Well, if you think about what we do on the planet these days, we grow a field of a crop and then do the same thing next year because it was a good crop, and then the same the next year, and eventually we end up with exhausted soil, rather than learning how we can do things cooperatively, looking at what does nature need, what do the plants need, what does the soil need, rather than just driving it until it becomes unusable. So, I mean, there is enough land and enough food in the world for everybody to eat if we're prepared to share, and also treat things reasonably rather than force everything, you know, with genetic modification, such like things. So it's lessons for the whole world, the whole planet to learn. And you're probably aware that there's much more organic food in the shops these days, and much more emphasis on eating carefully and eating healthily.
Big business.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in some ways good big business, and in other ways the supermarkets like to get on the wagon and get just within the...
Yeah, they kind of alter the meaning of organic in a lot of ways.
We're aware of that, yeah. It's Walmart to you. Are you a Brit?
No, I'm French.
French. Oh, all right. You must have big supermarkets, so that...
Yeah, you Leclerc, for example.
Yeah. So we're all dealing with that, and we're all, you know, I don't think the big shops necessarily are bad. It's just that if the emphasis was taken off profits and put on to treating people nicely and, you know, producing good wholesome foods, I mean,
Be a different story.
hopefully education is happening there as well.
Yeah.
People sometimes say it's interesting to have a neighbour, which is an Air Force base. But in a way, you know, those people are wanting world peace in their way, the same as we are. They've just got a different way of going about it, which is not necessarily better or worse. It's just, you know, seems a lot more aggressive than what we're used to. We have a relationship with the air base. We visit there, they visit here, and they're good people, they're kind people. They just have a different way of looking at them. This is the original caravan. It's the head office of our spiritual and personal development, which is like the personnel department. They interview people who want to come and live here and who want to move away from here. But the interviews have more of a meditative essence to them than just a discussion and question and answer. Feels like our ears are going to be battered this afternoon. The last tour I did last Monday, every car in town was around. You know, everywhere we were, there was another car. The cars were out. Today it's... I'm going to have a look and see if there's anybody in the sanctuary. We're going to have a look in there if that's... So come a bit closer, folks. I don't want to talk too close to the sanctuary because there's somebody in there using it. We have 4 sanctuaries or meditation rooms in the park here, and they're important for us. They're places that we can use for meditation or just being quiet or